you go. You like?
How do I get the YouTube? So, how do I get into the YouTube comments?
Okay, so what you want to do? Sorry, chat. Just trying to get things working here, so to speak. Yes, there. Sorry, chat. It might look a little bit weird, but bear with us. We're getting there. For fuck's sake, why is that not showing up? Why is the YouTube side not showing up?
Hang on.
Just make it full screen again. There you go. And then you could make it a bit bigger there if you want. Can you stop just clicking away, please? Sorry, chat. We're getting there. Sorry, baby. Oh, don't be messing with me. Just let me. Okay, there we go. How's that?
Alrighty.
There you go, baby. I shall leave
How
it
do
to
I
it.
type in the chat?
You don't need to type in the chat. You're talking.
Yeah. I can't even see if it was him. I don't know if it was him. There we go. Alrighty. So today we're going literally just straight in down the rabbit hole of Lizzy Andrew Borden. And as I can state here, she was born July 19th, 1860, in Fall River, Massachusetts. And Lizzy had a wonderful life. She died on June 1st, 1927, in Fall River, age 66. So not much of a full life, but she was, well, pretty good. But Lizzy Borden has been accused of murdering her family. Unaliving. Yes, unaliving.
Just for YouTube's sake.
So, Lizzy Borden was an American woman suspected of murdering her stepmother, unaliving her stepmother, and father in 1892. Her trial became a national sensation for the whole United States. Borden was the daughter of a well-to-do businessman who married for a second time in 1865, 3 years after Lizzy's mother passed away. Lizzy was popular and engaged in charitable work. Her father, by contrast, was redoubtably dour and promiscuous. As a wealthy man, and Lizzy and her elder sister Emma were ever at odds with him and their stepmother, often over financial matters. On a Thursday morning, August 4th, 1892, Mr. Borden left home to conduct business, leaving in the house, besides his wife, an Irish maid, Bridget Sullivan, and Lizzy. Emma was away visiting. On his return, he settled on the couch for a nap. Around 11:15 a.m., Lizzy, according to her testimony, discovered her father passed away, repeatedly struck in the head with a sharp instrument. Upstairs, his wife's remains were found. even more brutally disfigured. Examination proved that her death had preceded her husband's by an hour or so. It was found that Lizzy had tried to purchase prussic acid, a poison, on August 3rd, and a few days later she was alleged to have burned a dress in a stove. Now, that dress was a blue and white dress, if I recall correctly, and Lizzy made up the excuse saying that she got paint on it and she could never wear it again, so she burnt it. Sullivan, who had been a suspect, later that evening reportedly left the house carrying an unexamined parcel. No weapon was found, even though an axe was found in the basement was suspected. So it's even stated that even though the axe could have caused those wounds, it's been suspected that an axe was never the murder weapon. So there's been theories that it could have been a knife, a kitchen knife, it could be anything sharp, stabby, pointy, unalivey people. Lizzy was arrested and tried for both unalivings in June 1893, but was acquitted and given a circumstantial evidence. She was nonetheless orchestrated after... What the hell? Ostracized. My dyslexia is playing up. Therefore, by people of her native Fall River, Massachusetts, where she continued to live until her unaliving in 1927. The grisly murders inspired the great many books, both serious studies and fiction, Fall River Legend, A Ballad, and Lizzy Borden. But there has been so many controversies of Lizzy Borden. Like, there's even been a photo given to Lizzy Borden, and it's literally all the... Oh, I'll just search this up. Yep, this is it. Lizzy Borden's case images from one of the most notorious crime scenes in history. Over 100 years ago, Lizzy Borden was arrested and charged in the brutal unaliving of her father and stepmother. Here's a look at what the police found in the scene and transpired in a trial. 48 hours takes a whole new look at the case. Saturday, July 31st. Andrew J. Borden was found lying on the couch in the Borden house on August 1892 in Fall River, Massachusetts. His daughter, Lizzy, said that she was outside in the barn when her father was unalived. Abby Borden's remains were found on the second floor guest bedroom of the Borden house on August 4th, 1892. She is believed to have been killed first. The handless hatchet found in the basement was the suspected murder weapon. As stated, was suspected. In the basement was a bucket of bloody clothes, not pictured. Lizzy claimed that they were what she described as her time of the month. The day after Andrew and Abby's funeral, Lizzy was seen burning a dress in the kitchen. Lizzy burnt it because there was paint on it. A woman resembling Lizzy Borden made an attempt to purchase prussic acid in the day before the murders. The woman said she needed it to put an edge on a sealskin cape. Prussic acid, a lethal poison, was only available with a doctor's prescription, and so the pharmacist refused to sell it to her. The jury would never hear about this incident at the trial. After police inquested, Lizzy Borden was arrested and charged with the murder of her father and stepmother on August 11th, 1992. Hey, yo, honey. The trial of Lizzy Borden was followed by people all over the country. It was reported on daily by several newspapers. The actual skulls of Andrew and Abby Borden were brought into the courtroom and used to show that the suspected murder weapon fit the injuries. Although it's stated too that the axe actually in the courtroom didn't quite fit most of the injuries, so it couldn't have been that specific axe or that weapon. The skull of Andrew Borden, he was struck 10 times. And the skull of Abby Borden, she was struck 19 times. Lizzy Borden fainted during the trial when the prosecution showed the skulls of her father and stepmother. She did not testify. The only words she spoke aloud in the courtroom before the jury was charged were, "I am innocent. I leave you to my counsel to speak for me." The verdict. After a 3-week trial, the jury of 12 men found Lizzy Borden not guilty on June 20th, 1893. Pardon? Lizzy Borden puts her head on the rail as the foreman blurted out, "Not guilty." Lizzy Borden remained in Fall River after her acquittal, moved to this house in Witherell Hill district, where she had always wanted to live. Although acquitted of the charges against her, the questions of whether Lizzy Borden committed the murders remains to this day. Now, these 12 jurors actually gave Lizzy Borden this specific photo of them, and they wrote a sweet message on the back of it. I cannot remember the message, but they wrote a message on the back of the piece of paper for Lizzy, and I remember part of it saying, "We knew you weren't guilty from the start." And most people think that she paid them off, and other people think that they were just sympathy with her. Sympathizing. Here we go. Then goes with everybody that probably knows. Lizzy Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41. Andrew Borden is now dead. Lizzy hit him on the head. Up in heaven he will sing. On the gallows she will swing. This macabre nursery rhyme is the result of a double homicide in which the young Lizzy Borden was accused of in 1892 in Fall River, Massachusetts. Both her father and her stepmother were brutally attacked inside the home with a hatchet. Both had obviously succumbed to their injuries. The murders and trial received widespread publicity and remain a household name to this day. They have been depicted in numerous theatrical productions, films, library works, and folk-like nursery rhymes like the one above. The murders and trial received widespread publicity and remain a household name to this day. They were typically... Oh, I already read that. Discover the untold stories of Lizzy Borden house with Boston G-Host. It's an adventure you don't want to miss. Where is the Lizzy Borden house? Lizzy Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks. The chilling Lizzy Borden rhyme is haunted history lovers for over a century. But did you know that you can still visit the infamous house where it all happened? Located in Fall River, Massachusetts, Lizzy Borden's house was the scene of one of America's most shocking unsolved murders in 1892. Andrew and Abby Borden were brutally murdered with an axe, and their daughter Lizzy Borden was accused, but never convicted. Ever since, strange whispers, shadowy figures, and ghostly footsteps have filled the home, making it one of the most haunted places in New England. Want to uncover the terrifying tales inside the Lizzy Borden house? Read on to learn more, if you dare. Lizzy Borden was born July 19th, 1860 in Fall River, Massachusetts, to Sarah and Anthony Jackson Borden. To Sarah Anthony and Andrew Jackson Borden. I thought his name was... Okay. Her father came from a humble business beginnings and struggled financially in his early years. But through hard work, he found success, first in his furniture and casket business, then in a property developer over time. He built a fortune, becoming a director of several textile mills and owning valuable commercial properties. By the time of his death, Andrew Borden estimate was worth over $300,000, equivalent to about $9 million today. But despite his wealth, he was infamously frugal and refused to spend money on luxuries, even declining to have an indoor plumbing in their family home. Lizzy and her older sister Emma grew up in a strict religious household. Their lives revolved around church activities and community groups, shaping up their upbringing in deeply traditional and structured ways. Little did anyone know their family name would soon become infamous in one of America's most chilling murder cases. 3 years after her mother Sarah's death, Andrew Borden married Abby Gray. Lizzy attempted to have a cordial relationship, but called her Miss Borden instead of Mum. She believed that Abby had married her father Andrew for his wealth only. The Borden's housemaid Maggie even stated that the girls rarely ate meals with their parents, and tensions were beginning to grow larger for months before the murders. Andrew had been given gifts of real estate to Abby's family, while leaving Emma and Lizzy with nothing. The sisters had demanded property too, and were given the home in which they were already living. The night before the murders, John Morse, the brother of deceased Sarah Borden, visited Andrew to discuss business matters. Some have speculated in that conversation, particularly about the property transfer gone wrong, which have aggravated an already a tense situation. Now, it has been believed that the uncle, John Morris, had something to do with Andrew and Abby's deaths. So it's a big speculation, because some people think that it might be Andrew, some people think that it might be Abby, might be Lizzy, and some people think that it might be Maggie, the housemaid. So there's a lot of speculation going on between, there's 3 people that everybody's looking at. So August 4th, 1892. Sarah's brother John arrived the evening of August 3rd and stayed the night in the family's guest room. After breakfast the next morning, Andrew and John went into the sitting room and chatted for nearly an hour. Around 8:48 a.m., John left to buy a pair of oxen and to visit his niece, planning a return to the Borden household around noon. Andrew left for his usual morning walk around 9 that morning, although cleaning for the guest room was often chore delegated to Lizzie or Emma. Abby went upstairs sometime between 9 a.m. and 10:30 to make the bed. According to forensic investigation, Abby was facing her killer when the killer attacked. She was struck first on the side of the head with the hatchet, causing her to turn and fall down onto the floor. The killer then struck her multiple times, delivering 17 more direct blows to the back of the head, killing her. Andrew arrives home. Andrew returned from his morning stroll around 10:30 that morning, his key failing to open the door. He started knocking, and when the housemaid Maggie went to open it, she just saw that the lock had jammed. She would later testify that once she muttered an expletive due to the jammed lock, she heard Lizzie laughing. She did not see Lizzie, but stated that the giggles were coming from the top of the stairs at the time. Abby was already dead. This was significant because anyone on the second floor would have seen her body in the guest room. Lizzie later denied being upstairs during the trial, stated that she had helped her father remove his boots and slip on some house shoes before he laid down on the sofa for a nap. This story was coordinated by the crime scene photos, as Andrew lay dead on the couch with his boots still on his feet. Lizzie then informed Maggie for the sale in town and permitted her to go, but Maggie was feeling unwell and stayed home instead, retiring to her room for the nap. Maggie testified that she was on the third floor bedroom resting just before 11:10. She heard Lizzie call downstairs, "Maggie, come quick, Father's dead, someone had come in and killed him." Andrew was slumped over the couch in the sitting room, struck 10 to 11 times with a hatchet. He was still bleeding by the time Maggie saw him, which told of the recent attack. So, who was the murderer now? Lizzie's initial answers to the police were strange and contradicting. Initially, she reported hearing scraping and groans. 2 hours later, she told the police that she heard nothing. When asked where her stepmother was, she stated that Abby had received a note to go and visit a sick friend. She also stated that she thought Abby had returned home and asked if someone could go upstairs and look for her. Maggie and a neighbour that had come by, Miss Churchill, went upstairs and saw Abby lying on the floor of the guest room, face down. Most of the police officers that interviewed Lizzie found her attitude to be a bit suspicious. Some would say she was a bit too calm. Despite this, no one bothered to check on her clothes for bloodstains. They were criticized for their lack of diligence when they peeked into Lizzie's room, but shortly after, Lizzie said that she wasn't feeling well and wanted to lay down. In the basement of the home, police found 2 hatchets, one with a broken handle. It was suspected to be the murder weapon as the break in the handle appeared fresh and had been deliberately covered in ash and dust to make it seem it had been in the basement for some quiet time untouched. Also, due to the random onset of illness before the murders, the family's milk and Andrew and Abby's stomach contents were tested for poison. They all came back normal. Later that night, officers stayed close to the house in case the murderer came back to finish off the rest of the family. Once, one officer claimed to have seen Lizzy and a friend go into the cellar carrying an oil lamp and slop pail. He said that he noticed both of them leave the cellar later. At one point, he saw Lizzy standing by the sink. A few days later, the police had told Lizzy that she was a suspect in the murders. The mayor visited the home and found Lizzy tearing up a dress and putting it into the fire. She had told him it was because she ruined it with paint. Eventually, Lizzy was brought to the trial, and many reasons were given to why she would have committed the murders. One suggestion was that she was being physically and essayed by her father, which drove her to kill him and Abby, who did nothing to stop him. After a long, extensive trial, Lizzy Borden was eventually acquitted of all charges. She moved into a more affluent neighborhood with her sister, where she changed her name and was orchestrated by her neighbors. She died at the age of 66 of pneumonia in Fall River. The home is now a fully functional bed and breakfast, housing guests from all over the country. You can stay at the Lizzy Borden suite and sleep in the bed that she slept in. Reports consist of spectacled cats, apparitions, Oh, thank you. Self-rocking chairs, and even that Lizzy Borden herself haunts the home, choking guests that lay on her bed. The dining room table which the guests enjoy meals where Abby and Andrew was autopsized. Autopsies. I don't bloody know.
Yeah, autopsies.
Guests who stayed at the Lizzy Borden house have captured photos of strange anomalies floating by their beds. Noises coming from inside wardrobes, footsteps, laughter, like that of Lizzy in the morning of the murders. And some have reported being touched by an unseen hand while they slept. Even though there wasn't enough evidence to convict Lizzy of the murders, her father and stepmother may believe that she committed the crimes because she stood to gain the most financial out of their deaths. Not to mention the searing resentment she felt towards her stepmother. To this day, questions swirl around about the Lizzy Borden's case, and whoever murdered the couple was never brought to justice. This alone is enough to keep spirits in a state of unrest, let alone how horrific their deaths were. So will you stay in the Lizzy Borden's bed and breakfast?
I don't know, would you?
Yes, I would stay there.
You'd stay there?
I would stay there.
Okay. Because we were getting paid to stay there? No, that we probably need to pay to stay there, right? Since
Oh,
bed and
yeah.
breakfast, yeah.
So this is the letter from Lizzy Borden. You're eating my pork crackle?
No,
Mr. Bleep Bloop's eating my pork crackle.
I am not doing any such thing.
Put it back. Put it back where you found it. Yeah, that's right. You give it to me.
Crunchy crunch.
Alrighty guys, well I'm gonna end it there since it's a 30-minute video. But thank you for everybody who jumped in. Don't forget to hit like, comment, subscribe, whichever you guys want to do. And we'll catch you on the next video.